and thank you for tuning in to Actors eChat. I'm your host, Julie-Kathleen Langet, and we're live in the heart of the entertainment industry, Hollywood, California. Our guest today is a true Hollywood living legend, a character, and a very successful music booking agent for over 30 years. He is best known as one of the greatest Oscars parties hosts in town, the host of Night of 100 Stars. It is our pleasure to welcome Norby Walters. Hey! I feel like some big band music should be going on right now. I'm wearing this glittery dress. I don't know. I just feel very old.
Either big band or Dizzy Gillespie or Tito Puente. You know, that's the big band era was something that actually came before me. The big band era.
All musicians that you worked with and for and that you know very well.
Yeah, but the big band era, you know, Benny Goodman and Tommy Dorsey and Woody Herman and Glenn Miller. All those bands were big in the mid-30s to the mid-40s, and at the end of the war, there was no more big bands. They were over. It became the era of the singers, Perry Como and Jerry Vale and Al Martino and stuff like that. So when you say you expect to have big band music, no.
I bet you do. I know you do.
But I'm just saying.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you, and we're all excited to hear about your life. And you've had a very rich, wonderful, interesting life. So tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, and which was, I'm wearing my Brooklyn jacket right now. Brooklyn Dodgers.
Represent.
Brooklyn Dodgers, yeah. It's funny, to switch for a moment, when the Dodgers left Brooklyn some 50 years ago, and they came out here to play in Los Angeles at the Chavez Ravine. I don't know the name of that place, but yeah, they came there. From that day on, I hated them. I said, forget it. They deserted New York. They deserted Brooklyn and went to California. I said, what is that? I could not switch my allegiance from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. Los Angeles sounded like a bore, and Brooklyn was hip and hot and happening.
Yeah.
And that's where I grew up.
That's the Brooklyn Dodgers.
And
the Brooklyn Dodgers.
All right.
Great. Pee-wee Reese and Pete Reiser and Dolph Camilli and Whitlow White and all those great players.
Yeah.
I loved them all. I used to stand outside of Ebbets Field with my glove trying to catch a ball. I never did.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood. You come from a very interesting family, and your father was involved in the music business as well.
Well, my father, when my father came out from Poland, he came from Poland.
I'm Polish.
Polish?
Yeah.
Oh, you're Poniemaya, huh? It's okay.
Yeah.
That means, no, what it means, what I said was, what up? Yeah.
Oh, I know.
What up? So my father came over from Poland, and when he went to Ellis Island, they said, what's your name? He said, Yussel. Yussel what? Yussel Chachanovich. So they said, how do you spell it? He said, I don't know. So what's your father's name? They said, Meyer Chachanovich. So he became Yussel Meyer Joseph Meyer. And that was my father's name. And that's why he came to America. And he was Joseph Meyer, and he became he joined the Army. He thought he was going to school. And he joined the Army. And the first thing they did after basic training, they sent him to the Mexican border to fight Pancho Villa. So he's yelling in Yiddish, oh yeah, Bruch zu mir, you know, he's hiding behind the gun, sees all these Mexicans coming across. His mind was going. He'd never seen brown-skinned people, you know. He was in Poland. And,
that's
it. That's Pancho Villa.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, mira, Pancho. So then that war was, so they sent him up to Cheyenne, Wyoming for the last Indian uprising. My father's, first he's fighting Mexicans, next he's fighting Indians.
Wow.
Here's a little Jew from Poland. What the heck is going on here? it was a trip to hear him tell the stories. Was really fascinating. And anyhow, so we wound up in Brooklyn.
And he owned a nightclub. A
He
music
did.
nightclub.
He did.
What was the name of the club?
The name of his club was Soldier Maya. Now, the reason that was his name, Soldier Maya, is that when he was in the Army, he used to get into fights. Everybody was saying, you Jew this, you Jew that, you know. And one day he just couldn't take it anymore, and he banged this big Russian guy right on the chin, and he knocked him right cold. And the captain saw that, and he said, wow, that's pretty good. You want to be a fighter? My father said, hey, it beats cleaning latrines. So he became a fighter, and he fought lightweight, became lightweight champ of the U.S. Army in 1908. And then he came out of the Army. First World War, he went back in again. And so that was it. So he opened up this little nightclub in Brooklyn called Soldier Maya. And it was a great little club. And he used to have, his weekend entertainment was a comedian MC, a singer, and an exotic dancer. That means a stripper, you know. So you know, one had a snake, one had this, one had that. Every week was a different. My father was a $25 booker. Every act got $25. Wow. That's it. You know, you want $30, go to a different club.
But he hosted some very famous musicians, right?
Well,
he
did.
Beboppers.
What happened is correct, and I was in high school, and I became a great jazz fan. You know, the sound of the big bands was fading just then in the mid-40s, and along came these little groups, bebop groups, like Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker, and you know, and all these little Thelonious Monk and Bud Powell, and all these very hip, and I loved it. I really got into it.
Wow.
And I said to my dad, "Oh, here's Charlie Parker.
Wow.
Here's Bird. Greatest, the two greatest guys in jazz would be Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. They were the two proponents of what was bebop at the time, and I became a great jazz fan. And I said to my dad, "Why don't we?"
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Dizzy Gillespie. Wow, look
Dizzy.
at those cheeks.
Dizzy.
Dizzy Gillespie.
Yeah. Ooh-pa-pa-da.
So what was that like to be around, and looking back on it, reflecting now, what was that like to be around all of these jazz greats
Incredibly,
at that time?
incredibly exciting, because I was
Wow.
still just a teenager. I was 17, 18, 19. I was just a teenager, and to be having them work in my father's club, you know, was like really just, my mind was going, there they are. Charlie Parker,
Wow.
Bird, working in our club was just brilliant, you know, it really was. And then Miles Davis used to be a trumpeter with, Miles was he was with Charlie Parker. And he was so great that Capitol Records gave him his own, to make his own album on Capitol Records. And when Miles came out, I gave him his first job.
I actually heard that story, and we have a chatter question. Yes, chatter.
One of the chatters, actually from New York, asks, at that time, was it difficult to have black musicians in your father's club? Did that cause a problem?
It's interesting. In Brooklyn, we did not have that problem. In Brooklyn, it was fine. It was very, very avant-garde. You know, everybody was cool, and never any problems of any kind with black musicians. Other cities, absolutely.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, absolutely. But not in Brooklyn, and not in my dad's club.
Yeah.
So I gave Miles Davis, I was a kid, but I was booking it for my father. You know, I was out of high school, and I'm booking, and I gave Miles his first job with his own band. Before that, he was a sideman, and now he got his Capitol Records, and I gave him his first job. And through the years, whenever Miles would see me, said, "Norby Walters, you gave him my first gig. You did it,
my
man."
God.
He was always
Wow,
so
there he is, Miles
respectful.
Davis.
Miles, he was always
He's my
so
favorite.
respectful of me and my dad, because we'd given him his first job
Yeah.
with his own band. And of course, he was a trip. Miles was a trip
In
himself.
what way was he a trip?
Well, you know, like he turned his back on the audience. He
Yeah.
didn't care, you know. He was Miles Davis. but it was brilliant.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible times, and then I bought the club from my father.
That you transitioned beautifully. That was my next question. You bought the club from your father and you turned it into a mambo jumbo joint?
Into a mambo joint. Into
Mambo jumbo.
Yeah, well, no, it's no mambo jumbo. No, that's not. No, that is definitely not hip. Or the Tower of Power, a great group out of San Fran. They made a record called "What Is Hip," which I always thought was pretty hip. No, mambo. We had Tito Puente and La Sonora Matancera out of Cuba with Celia Cruz and Tito Rodriguez and Jose Cabello and Jose Fajardo. We had all the great Latin bands of the late 40s and on into the 50s when mambo was definitely happening.
And that is?
Tito Puente,
Wow.
El Rey del Timbal, the king of the timbales. We lost him a couple of years ago. A little piece of me died. Like the song says, every time you go away, a piece of me dies. When Tito Puente died, a little piece of me died. Because
Wow,
I
and
loved
here
him.
he is.
He was El Rey del Timbal. He was just,
Wow.
the band was incredible.
So what inspired you to open up a mambo club? How did you go from jazz
Well,
to that?
because jazz was kind of fading out. You know, and I had been into jazz from like around 1945 when I was about 12, 15 years old, something like that, and I was into jazz and into jazz and into jazz, and Stan Kenton, great band. Stan Kenton was really a very avant-garde band leader, and I was a big fan of Stan's, and he
There he is.
da 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 da, Artistry and Rhythm. That was his theme song. I remember it very well, and it's I don't know, 60 years ago, and Stan Kenton made a record, and it was called Machito. I heard his name, Machito, and he named it after a great Cuban band leader named Machito, and he had this thing, and then he made, right behind that, he made a tune called The Peanut Vendor, and that was also great Latin music. It was so hip, it turned me right on to Latin music, and I phased away from bebop after being there in my mind and in my heart and soul for 7 or 8 years, and now I moved right towards mambo, and we were called, those of us who were into mambo, they called us mambo nicks. Mambo nicks. The reason is because in Yiddish word, a Jewish word, was a bum. If you're a bum, a trumbonik. He's a trumbonik. That
We
means
have a
bum.
chatter question.
Yes, they've asked, what was the name of your nightclub, your mambo club?
It was called Norby Walters Bel Air. Norby Walters Bel Air on Sutter Avenue in the heart of the Brownsville, East New York section of Brooklyn. Very tough little neighborhood. Very tough little neighborhood. The neighborhood was so tough that when Red Fox came to the neighborhood, they say, Red, what do you do if you see a ghost? He said, I'll cut him.
Wow.
Red Fox, brilliant comedian, I'll tell you that. So we became Mambo Nicks.
Wow.
Now we used to go to the Palladium on Wednesday nights, and everybody was doing the mambo, and we stayed with mambo, you know, for a number of years until 1960.
Oh, there he is, Red Fox.
Red Fox.
Such a great comedian. You transitioned from owning all these clubs in New York into being a music booking agent.
Well, the point to that was that after I left the Flamboyant, I opened up in the Flamboyant in Forest Hills, and we were there and continued the Latin situation. And then I went to the city, to New York City, to Manhattan, and I opened up a club next to the Copacabana, right next door to the Copacabana. And as a result, everybody in show business, while they were working there, came in between shows, and lots of show business people who came to see those actors, they'd come in and hang out. So yeah, we had a great hangout going there. And I used to have very hip little lounge groups working there, sort of like Louis Prima and Keely Smith, only the cheap version. you know.
But is it true? I read that Stiller and Mira
Yeah.
would perform their acts there.
Yeah,
and
they'd come-
Jackie Mason.
Yeah, they come by and
so
hang out
interesting.
and test out material, and Rodney Dangerfield and a lot of the guys, because it was very convenient. They had
Oh, there's Louis Prima.
hello,
Wow.
just a gigolo everywhere I go.
So that's
People
so.
know the part I'm playing. And Keely Smith, by the way, God bless her, she's still alive.
Yeah.
She lives in Palm Springs, and I see her, once every few months, and still sings her tuchus off. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
Yeah, she works.
That's
and
Keely Smith.
It was great.
Yeah.
So, as Keely, she's fantastic.
Beautiful.
That was the greatest lounge group of all time. I mean, everybody, Frank and Dean and Sammy, and everybody would go in to see at the Sands Hotel. Jack Entrada, who used to run the Sands Hotel, who's both of his daughters are good pals of mine, and Sam Butera and the Witnesses. Ooh,
There's
they took over.
Hey Boy, Hey Girl.
Yeah,
Louis
they
Prima
were
and
the
Keely
group
Smith.
behind Louis, and then when Louis died, they kind of segued into that slot in show business. And I had these little groups working for me, and one night a guy came in, got into a beef with a couple of guys, and he went out, got a pistol, came back, and shot them dead.
Oh my God.
That's right. And
Wow.
shot him up, killed 2 guys, and 1 guy lived. And
this is at the club on Queens Boulevard?
no, this is at the club on 14 East 60th Street. I had already left Queens Boulevard, which was the Flamboyant. We had the Bel Air, the Flamboyant, and the Norby Walters Club next to the Copacabana. And I lost my license. The state says, as the owner, it's your responsibility. If somebody's doing drugs in your club, it's your fault. If somebody's doing prostitution in your club, it's your fault. Somebody's doing gambling in your club, it's your fault. And if somebody gets killed, it's your fault. So they say, we give you the license, but you have to maintain everything. They took my license away. And now I'm walking around with 3 little young rabbits at home and a mortgage. And I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do, because basically I'd been most of my life from the time I was like 17 until now I'm 30, and all I was a saloon keeper, and I didn't know what to do, and I was walking along the street and I bumped into a comedian friend of mine by the name of Gene Bayless, who was never a huge success, but he was successful enough to be a very hip comic, and all the guys stole material from him, Jerry Lewis and a lot of guys. Oh, Jerry may not like that if he's watching the show. But Jerry, that's what I heard. Anyhow, so Gene Bayless said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Why don't you be an agent?" I said, "Who would I agent for?" He says, "Well, we'll get a singer." He said, "We'll get me, and we'll get Augie and Margot." That was a dance team, and you'll book it as a package. I said, "Wow, it sounds good, but I don't know if I could do that." But I thought about it, and I thought, I know a lot about music, and I know a lot of musicians. I know a lot of people in the pop world, in the jazz world, in the Latin world, and in the world of show business itself. I said, I think I'll try it.
Wow.
And so I started to book little lounge bands around the New York area, then the tri-state area. Then I had about 30 bands working, me alone. I had no help. I'd make the contract, I'd type the contract, I'd get the commission, I'd go to the club, I'd book the club. I was what they call the chief cook and bottle washer. I did it all.
And you had all these skills because you owned so many clubs and you'd been working in the business for so long.
Correctamente.
Wow.
I, as a club owner, understood the club owner that I was trying to sell. I was him, and he knew that I knew what he had to do. And I'd go into clubs and show him, change your lighting, put it over here, get the booth over here, have the bandstand, and I would help him in every which way that I could. And the word got out that I was willing to help them, and I also had great bands, because I'd scout all around the area. I'd say, good band. Who represents you? They'd say, nobody. Good. I'll represent you. So
And these bands were
lounge bands. They were lounge bands. And then I had a girl, a guy came to me and said, listen, I got a great girl singer in Jersey. I want you to come and see her. I said, ooh, I can't go to, who cares? He says, I'm telling you, she's great. I said, all right, I'll go. I go to New Jersey, and this little girl is singing in a broken down joint, you know, like, forget it. I'd be afraid to walk into the club with such a broken down joint. And she sang. She was a killer. So I said, you know what? I'll represent her. So I represent her. She then made a record called Never Can Say Goodbye, and followed that up with I Will Survive.
Oh, yeah. And that, of course, was Gloria Gaynor.
Thank you. And till this day, Gloria Gaynor still works and gets big money from a song that she recorded 35 years ago.
Wow. That's my favorite version of that song.
I Will Survive.
And Never
Can Say Goodbye. It's been done. Gloria.
So she was your first client that really broke out.
Gigi, she was. And I loved it. She was great. And
so then you transitioned into disco music.
that's correct.
And
As a result of Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah.
Because of Gloria Gaynor. And here was the deal.
There's I Will Survive. Wow.
Yeah, Gloria Gaynor had this record, and we couldn't book her because you needed a whole band behind her. And she wasn't big enough and strong enough, you know, money-wise, to be able to, I couldn't get enough money if she was going to have a whole band of 7 or 8 or 9 guys. I mean, I couldn't get enough money from the club owner somewhere. So then I get a call from a guy, and he says, I'd like to book Gloria Gaynor. I said, where are you? So I'm in St. Louis. I said, St. Louis? She hasn't got a band. He says, she doesn't need a band. What do you mean? He said, can she get the tracks without her voice on it, and bring the tracks, we'll play the tracks, and she'll sing live over the track. I said, I never heard of that. He said, well, we call it a track date. I said, really? So I called up the record company, Polygram Records, and I asked them, could I get just the tracks, 3 of those tracks from the album? They said yes. They gave it to me. I gave it to Gloria. She went with her road manager, and she went to this place, and I said to them, I want $2,500 for the night, plus 2 round-trip airfares, plus 2 hotel rooms. They said, you got it. I said, Gloria, as soon as you get finished with the set, call me right away. I want to know what's going on. What is this club and what's going on? She calls me that night. She said, you won't believe it. The club is a gay club. It's a gay club? She said, yeah. There's 600 guys dancing. I said, with who? They said,
Wow.
said, with each other. I said, oh my.
God, that's so fascinating. So you were there at the very start, of disco.
Yeah.
That is just fascinating.
That was it, I'm telling you. Next thing I saw Carol Douglas, she was singing Doctor's Orders.
Doctor's Orders. I know
Very
that
good.
song.
Very good. And we started, and now, well, the first thing I did was I ran to 42nd Street, and I picked up all these gay magazines from all the different cities in the country. From St. Louis and Chicago and Kansas City and everything. And I had all these gay, and I called up and said, hello, well, how would you like to buy Gloria Gaynor? I said, Gloria Gaynor, great. And that was the beginning of the whole disco thing. So she opened up all these doors all over the country.
Wow.
And then I was going to the black charts, because in the black charts was the disco charts. It was the same thing. The crossover from disco to black to crossover. Most disco bands of that era were black. But they had this tremendous crossover appeal to all the white kids who were just dancing. All of a sudden we were back doing the twist. You know, it was like the whole thing was reversed. The twist came out in 1963, and this was now 1973, and all of a sudden everybody was dancing, and they didn't have to do any steps. They're just moving, you know.
Yeah.
It just, I'm telling you. And I was what they called a chart chaser. If a record was moving up the charts, I said, let me sign that. Hello? How you doing? Looks like this is the Army. Oh, we're doing the twist.
Oh, okay. Some interesting footage.
I thought it was this is the Army, Mr. Jones. You know?
I'm noticing a trend. You're so versatile, and I think that you really have a gift for recognizing real talent and successful people. You went from the great beboppers to jazz musicians to mambo to very talented lounge acts to
That's
disco.
right.
I think this is just so incredible.
The days of having groups in clubs is very limited. The club owner finds it a lot easier to just play recorded music, like a disco. And that's what it is. The disco has come full circle. Disco was in, then it became very nothing, and now it's back in full strength. So the lounges that I used to book, whether it was the Sheraton or the Holiday Inn or any small club, those clubs don't exist anymore. They strictly play recorded music, disco music. And it's better than the band that was playing there, because here they're playing a record of a high-tech studio-made record, and they're playing that, and it's fantastic. No little 4 or 5 or 6 piece band could capture that, capture that sound. So they do that, and it's a lot cheaper to have a guy work on a turntable for $150 instead of buying a band for $1,500 or $2,000. So I tell young musicians, it's a very, very difficult life if you're going to go into it. Be prepared to not make a living. Have something on this, make the music on the side.
That's
and
the club scene today.
Yeah, that's the club scene today. And get an education in anything, whatever it is, whether it's a doctor, or a lawyer, or a plumber, or an electrician. Get something where you can make a living. Then, on the side, do music until one day you find out that you're not going to make a living ever. All you're going to do is enjoy your passion for music.
What do you think it takes to become a successful artist?
It's like winning the lotto.
But what specific qualities? And the reason why I ask that is because you've been around genius musicians,
Yes.
Miles Davis,
Yes.
and very successful performers, Gloria
Yeah.
Gaynor, Carol Douglas.
Yeah.
You represented Marvin Gaye.
Yes, Marvin Gaye.
What specific qualities does it take? Because I want to know, our viewers want to know, I'm not a musician, but I'm an actress, that makes someone great and then successful.
Well,
There's Marvin Gaye.
there's Marvin. What's going on? Marvin. Marvin. Really, funnily enough, I was watching a program last night where Marvin Gaye was Marvin Gaye Jr., and his son, Marvin III, was on some show talking about suing, I don't know if it's Michael Bublé. Oh, no, Robin Thicke.
Oh, right.
He's suing Robin Thicke for the fact that they feel that Robin Thicke copied his father's tune.
Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines copied his father's tune.
Yeah. And so there's Robin. His father's a dear friend of mine, Alan Thicke. And so I saw Marvin III, last night. And when we talk about ripping things off, Rick James, Alan, a great guy. He's
Growing
good talent and a
Pains,
great
yeah.
guy, Canadian. When what was I just saying?
You were watching a program about
Marvin III.
Yeah,
Talking about
Marvin
ripping
Gaye
things
III.
off. Oh, so Rick James made a record, made a lot of records, of course. He made a record. Here he is.
And you also represented Rick
I
James.
did represent Rick. Yeah.
Wow.
The girl's a super freak. She's really very kinky. The kind you don't bring home to mother. Now, right after that was da 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 da. Now, when the rapper came along and made a very big hit, he used that riff on his record, and as a result, he got sued by Rick James, who sued him and beat him for $2 million because he copied that riff. Oh, you can't touch that. Da 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 da
MC Hammers.
MC
Can't
Hammer.
touch this, of
And
course.
you know something?
Yes.
I have hanging in my office an album, a plaque, 10 little it went 10 times platinum. That's very rare.
Wow.
Very rare. 10
There he
times
is, MC
platinum.
Hammer.
There he is. Here's Hammer. He was a great performer on stage, but he
Yeah.
got sued by Rick, and it cost him $2 million. But it helped him have a great record. And Rick was happy to get the $2 million, you know? And
We have a chatter question. Yes,
A
chatter.
chatter question from Las Vegas.
okay.
It says, so how did you get from that to hosting the Night of 100 Stars?
Huh. That's an interesting question. Actually, it started in New York. It started in New York about 5 years before I came to Los Angeles. And this Broadway producer, whose name escapes me now, was doing the Night of 100 Stars at Radio City Music Hall. And because I knew so many performers and people and stuff, they asked me to help them, and I helped them, and we did it for 2 or 3 years. Then he died, and then I moved to California. And moving to California, someone approached me the very first week I was here. A friend of mine approached me, and he said, "Listen, Norby, I'm trying to do an Oscar party, but the guy who's putting it on for me, I gave him so much money, and it looks like it's going to just be a disaster. Could you help me?" I said, "I don't know. I'll do what I can." And I went over and met the guy. Guy turns out to be a jerk, and just wasting all the money that it was given. And I did what I could in a few days. But I thought to myself, you know, I was doing the thing in New York, and this guy's I think this could be a lot of fun. I have I sold my company by that time.
The
I'd
Norby
sold,
Walters agency.
I'd sold the Norby Walters agency by that time. I was tired, you know, and, you know, you do something for 30 years, you know, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
I love Patti LaBelle, but finding her another Tuesday in Pittsburgh was not, you know, like,
Right, you were over it.
excuse me, yeah, you know,
Yes,
and I love,
of course,
by the
with
way,
all due respect. Yeah,
I
of
love
course.
Patti LaBelle,
Yeah.
who certainly one of the great voices of the whole world,
I
Patti
agree.
LaBelle. I love her. And anyhow, you know,
There she is.
there she is.
Unbelievable voice.
That's right. And voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
Coucher avec moi.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyhow, so I decided to run an Oscar party, call it the Night of 100 Stars. I didn't know how many I'd be able to get, but I did it. And the very first party, I had about 25 stars showed up for my party.
And when was that first Night of 100 Stars Oscars party?
That's 24 years ago. So
Wow.
you do the math. Whatever year that was.
87.
89?
And there's Night of 100 Stars.
Night of 100
the
Stars.
website. Nightof100stars.com to get more information about that.
That's right, nightof100stars.com.
So Night of 100 Stars is an Oscars party and also an Oscars viewing party.
That's correct.
And celebrities are invited to view the Oscars.
Yes.
And then celebrities that attend the Oscars also come after the ceremony?
No,
Oh, okay.
the Night of 100 Stars is a viewing party, a dinner viewing party. Doors open at 3:30. Everybody comes in. They're hanging around, having some drinks. At 5 o'clock, we open up the dining room. And then, who's that, Theda Barra? I don't know. So,
You showed this at one of your parties.
oh, did I?
Oh,
Did
okay.
I? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, the point is
I
that
think that was Lillian Gish.
they have a dinner and they're watching the Academy Awards. When the Academy Awards ends, my party ends. So it runs from 3:30, cocktail hour, right up until 5 o'clock. It starts, and by 9:30, it's over. We keep the bar open for another half an hour, and then it's good night and see you next year. And let everybody go to Vanity Fair after that.
Yeah.
Vanity Fair is an after party. It's a great party. It's an after party. I haven't even got the strength to go to that party, although, you know, I've been invited to it. But who's got the strength after doing this thing for so many hours?
There's Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
A Night of 100 Stars obviously hosts a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston, Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes. Funny that
so-
Richard Dreyfuss played poker in my house last week.
Yes.
And Bryan Cranston played poker in my house the week before.
That was my next question.
So you said, yeah. Is that Ed Lauder?
Yes.
He just died. Ed Lauder just died. One of the great character actors of our business, and a sweet man.
Yeah.
Sweet man. He was the first actor I met in California when I moved here. That very first week at a restaurant on Westwood Boulevard called Mateo's, and Vince Edwards took me there for dinner that night, and I met our man.
So if you're a non-celebrity and you want to attend Night of 100 Stars, there's your one.
There's
picture from
one
your
picture from the
famous
poker game.
poker party. There is Sharon
see,
Stone,
Sharon Stone.
Mimi Rogers.
That's right.
Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak and,
Wow.
and Marty Landau and
Love to be a fly on the wall.
yeah,
on that
and
party.
Eric Butler and Jimmy Ferrantino and Rod Steiger.
And so you host these famous celebrity poker parties every week?
Every Wednesday night, my home, yeah. And when somebody gets a straight flush, we take a picture of them with everybody behind them, and take a picture, and I send a copy of that picture to every actor who's there that night, and they got their memento. So all the actors that come and play, they're so happy to have a picture up on their wall of that night, a souvenir of their night.
And here's some footage on the red carpet
Yeah,
of Night of
that was
100
Lorraine
Stars
Toussaint
at the Beverly Hills
and
Hotel.
that's Tony Dennison.
There's one of our hosts, Danica
okay.
Quinn from
Yeah.
Actors Reporter.
Tony Dennison was on a show called The Closer for 7 years with Kira Sedgwick, and now he's on the new show. I forget what they called the new show. They segued right into it. So, and here he's on. He was on.
Steve Valentine.
Yeah, Steve Valentine. He
Being interviewed by Danica.
yeah, he was on a pretty good show for also about 7 or 8 years. The name of the show just slips my mind.
So if
here's
Shirley
Shirley,
Jones, I
Academy
love
Award
her.
winner.
Yes, a lot of people don't remember that.
She won the Academy Award. Yeah.
Great actress.
Yeah.
I mean, I know her from Oklahoma.
Elma
Carousel.
Gentry. I mean, she made some incredible movies, and she's a great gal.
Yeah.
God bless her. And she's still around.
Yeah.
And she works. She does club dates. Kevin Dobson, he did 7 years on Kojak with Telly Savalas, and a good poker player. Yeah.
So if you're a non-celebrity, how could you get to the Night of 100 Stars?
Now you're
Actors
talking my
Party?
business. Eh? Hello. That's what
People
we're here.
like me.
That's
Oh,
what we're here
Gloria
for.
Allred.
That's right. Sell a few tickets.
Famous lawyer Gloria
Oh,
Allred.
Gloria Allred, yeah. The general public, we have 200 seats available to the general public at $1,000 a seat, and that money pays for the party because all these hundreds of actors and their guests, they don't pay.
Yeah, wow.
They're just my guests.
Yeah.
They're America's guests, and they just come to the party and have a grand time. And then I always have 50 playmate type gals running around the show. And here's Louis Ferrigno, the Hulk.
Right.
I learned from Hefner. Have beautiful ladies at the party, and that makes a party great. And so I always have 50 beautiful ladies. They're also my guests. And the 200 people, Joe Public, that's you out there. 200 people, come get your ticket.
And there's Lee Majors.
Lee Majors, yeah, Lee, the $1 Million Man.
And in order to get tickets for the Night of 100
Well,
Stars
they
party,
can go
how
to
do you
the site, nightof100stars.com. And on the site, there's fill it out to buy tickets. Just fill it out. It'll come to us, and we will process the credit card information and then send them a confirmation. Lou Gossett,
Jr.
Academy Award winner for Officer and a Gentleman. What an incredible picture that was. He was incredible.
Yeah.
And he's a great poker player, too.
You must be exhausted. You've been doing these parties for 24 years.
That's right.
The amount of planning.
And I hope I'll
preparation
get it
has to
right
go
one
into
day.
it.
If you want to find out about tickets, nightof100stars.com.
.com.
That's to get to the site.
Okay.
You get to the site and buy tickets and find out about the event. If you want to talk to me personally or send something, go to Norby Walters Inc. No, forget that. Go to Night of 100 Stars at AOL.com.
Okay.
Night of 100 Stars at AOL.com. I'll say hello, and we'll talk.
Great. I just jumped right to the direct contact.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
I really want to go
Joan
there.
Rivers says, "Can we talk?"
And also there's, and please, if you want to contact me, my website, that's my new headshot.
Oh, good look. It's a good look.
Thank you so much.
Why don't you wear your hair down
Julie-Kathleen.
here? Why, that's
You
a
know,
good.
and that's my IMDb
that's a
page,
good
Julie
look,
Langan,
like,
and that's my Facebook page.
Yeah, like Jennifer Lawrence. I like that.
Oh, thank you. And there's
Thank
my
you.
Twitter, Jules-Kathleen24, my
Twitter,
Twitter handle.
Twitter.
Thank you so much for being here, Norby. You were a wonderful guest.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope all of you learned a lot from his life and all of the great people that he's worked with. And yes, we have another
Anything
chat
you'd like to add, Norby?
Well, I have this little pain in my side. And maybe somebody can come and help me.
I have icy hot. I'll help you after the show. All right.
Well, it's just great. It's nice being here. It's wonderful being with you.
yeah, thank you.
And this sounds like a lot of fun. And all you
It
people
is.
out there out in TV land,
Yeah.
keep watching this show. Seems like it's a pretty good show.
Thank you for that endorsement. And thank you to all of our chatters for joining us on Actors eChat. We're here Monday through Friday from Hollywood, California. Actors eChat surpassed 5 million viewers, and
Wow.
we appreciate you. Want to see all of today's show? Go to actorsentertainment.com and put the talent's name, Norby Walters, in the search box. Also visit Actors Entertainment on imdb.com. That's the Internet Movie Database to see some of the 1,000+ entertainment industry guests on Actors E. Please follow Actors Entertainment on Twitter at Actors Entertain. And join us on Facebook at Actors Entertainment fan page. And don't forget to like us. Please stay tuned for our Actors Reporter animation, which won Best Animation at the Telly Awards. Great job, Pepper J Productions and Now Media. This is our Telly, which you get to hold. You're our guest.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Norby, and thank you guys for
Put
tuning
it that way
in.
so they're holding hands out to the audience.
We'll see you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
What's that? Actors Eat Chat Show? Happens to be my favorite. In the morning, I want nothing but a cup of coffee, a bottle of Kahlua, 6 naked girls. Wait, no, that's not right. Actors Eat Chat Show.
Oh my gosh. Hey, big Hollywood starlet that just happens to be walking by. Yes. I'm not from around here, but I want to be an actress just like you. What do I need to know? Kid, let me tell you. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a naive newbie like you, there's one thing you need to know. To get my first job, I lived in a slum, beat out 50 other girls to play a drunk bum.
I cried.
My first agent charged me 30%. Working 3 jobs and I couldn't pay rent, but I'm an actor. She's an actor. A shark gnawed my leg on a B film in Sydney. To pay for the stitches, I sold my left kidney. I finally made a union, their rules were complex. Their piles of paperwork fogged up my specs. But I'm an actor. She's an actor. I'm an actor. Well, that's rather disturbing, but what's the one thing I need to know? Don't listen to the critics. Don't follow all the tabs. Forget that sleazy photog and the agent that's got crabs. Go to Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com. Learn the tricks and the secrets without all the sweat. An info-packed one-stop shop. It's free and on the net. Actors Reporter. ActorsReporter.com.
How can they help her?
Career cues, union news, makeup woes, advice from pros, insurance tips, choosing scripts, everything at your fingertips. Actors Report.
Mary Jo Gruber. Thanks for joining us on Actor Z Live Chat Show. I'm just one of your Actor Z hosts, but as you can see, I'm also the Actor Z Live video editor, which means that I'm here, even when you don't see me. Actor Z is here to chat with you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Hollywood time, as I like to call it. Our guests include actors, directors, producers, writers, singers, comics, and others that are all in the entertainment industry. You can see previous shows at www.actorsentertainment.com, and be sure to check out our guest index to find your favorite celebrities. See you next time. I'm working.